All right, so let's get into this story. So apparently this news came out about Cecilia Gentili, which this shocked me when I saw this story because I had no idea that her cause of death was due to a drug overdose. Like I didn't even know she was doing drugs until this story had came out. I just thought like I don't even think there was word on where she passed from. Or am I bugging? So yeah, a New York City drug dealer who admitted providing the fentanyl-laced heroin that killed prominent transgender activist Cecilia Gentili was sentenced Tuesday to 19 years in federal prison, according to prosecutors. Now, shout out to the Associated Press for this story, by the way. Now, Michael Quillan, who's 45, of Brooklyn, was also ordered to pay $24,482 in restitution and forfeit 30 grand in a seized firearm. Saying, quote, Cecilia Gentili was tragically poisoned from fentanyl-laced heroin. U.S. Attorney of the Eastern District of New York, Joseph Nocella, said in a statement. They said, quote, today the perpetrators who sold the deadly drugs to Gentili are being held accountable, end quote. Now, Quillan, or is it Quillan, had 3 prior state felony convictions related to selling heroin before he pleaded guilty to the federal charges last year. This is according to prosecutors. He faces up to 20 years in prison for the drug distribution charge and up to 35 years for unlawful possession of a firearm as a felon in his sentencing in Brooklyn's federal court. Quillan's lawyer didn't immediately respond to the email seeking comment. Now, his co-defendant, Antonio Venti, who's 53 of Long Island, was sentenced in February to 5 years in federal prison after also pleading guilty to the same drug offense last year. Now, prosecutors said text messages, cell site data, and other evidence show that Quillan had supplied Ventili with drugs. Oh, sorry, he supplied Venti with drugs that he then sold to Gentili. And this is why I be telling y'all gotta watch these drugs and stuff that they be passing around here because yeah, like I told y'all back in the day when I was drinking and smoking weed and doing the booger sugar and all that other stuff. Thank God that they didn't that they was not putting the things that they putting in now. Like these days, y'all don't know what the hell they be putting in the stuff. And yeah, they be trying to put rope spray and freaking fentanyl and all kinds of other craziness, and everybody be out here just a little bit of the stuff, and they be dying. This is the same thing I feel like Michael. I almost said Michael B. Jordan, Michael K. Williams. I believe had the same situation. Was a drug dealer was sentenced for selling him heroin laced with fentanyl. So they said the 52-year-old Brooklyn resident was found unalive in her bedroom from the combined effect of fentanyl, heroin, xylazine, and booger sugar on February 6, 2024, the day after purchasing the drugs. This is according to prosecutors. The former sex worker had been a leading advocate for other trans people, as well as sex workers and people with the high five. She also acted, as y'all know, in the FX series Pose about the underground ballroom dance scene in the 80s and 90s. Now, Gentili's well-attended funeral on St. Patrick's Day at St. Patrick's Cathedral in Manhattan drew outrage from some in the Catholic community, including from the Venerable Church's own pastor. Oh, wow, because y'all had a problem with a trans woman having a funeral at St. Patrick's Day, St. Patrick's Cathedral? Y'all don't own the damn church. And all you damn sinners that's walking around on this planet, they be letting y'all asses up in there to be buried or to have your little service. What the hell you worrying about her being having the service and stuff there? At the end of the day, if she's a Catholic, then she should be honored in that way. But yeah, if y'all gonna be out here doing y'all little drugs and stuff, y'all need to know what's in this stuff. And I know some of y'all don't care. A lot of it is getting high. I had no idea that she had any kind of addicting or issues with addiction. Like I didn't know that she was out here doing heroin and all this other stuff. I know it might be hard out here, especially like with her background and sex work and working with sex workers and dealing with a lot of the case management type things. That it could be stressful and dealing with a lot of stuff. And addiction is not easy to maintain, like, or sobriety I should say is not easy to maintain. That if you have an addiction, you're always going to have that craving, and it's a day by day situation, and sometimes people slip up. But then sometimes when you do slip up, that slip up, maybe your last time that you actually get to live on this earth. So look, I'm just, you drug dealers out here that be out here selling these people stuff. I understand y'all got a supply and demand. You the boss and they the client. But if you're gonna be out here selling people things that you know could potentially kill them by lacing it with things that shouldn't even be in the heroin, then yeah, you need to do some jail time. So I want to hear from you guys regarding this story. May Cecilia rest in peace. And finally, based off of this, case closed. She could rest easy. And now we know the full extent of what happened and what she passed away from. Because like I said, I had no idea that it was due to some type of an overdose until I read this article. So let me know what you guys think of this story in the comments down below.